my name is Marian. I'm from the blog Miss Mustard Seed.
And I'm Kriste. I'm from the blog Rosemary and Thyme.
And we have a special guest today, fresh from Wisconsin.
Laura from the Ironstone Nest. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. And this is Design Ramblings, where we talk about anything and all things design related. And we were just telling Laura, we actually we pick a subject and then Kriste and I we can't talk about it.
We can't talk about it.
Because we do want it to be ramblings. We want it to be off the cuff. So
they told me what it was going to be today, and apparently today we're talking about small spaces.
We are. So decorating small spaces. We thought that was fairly I think everybody can relate to that, whether you have a big home with just this one tiny little room, little bathrooms or whatever, or small bedrooms, or if you're doing the tiny house thing.
Right.
Which... Well, we'll ask Laura first. So, do you have any small spaces in your home?
We do have a small space. Our kitchen and our dining room are all together.
Okay,
so it's a long galley, and so it's very narrow but long. So it's very small. We have to fit a lot of things in a very small square footage area. So we have a dining room table and a buffet and stools, and then it's right into the kitchen. So not much room for anything else.
Yeah. So how do you? How have you worked with that space over the years? Have you found, did you kind of settle into your furniture arrangement right away, or did you find you had to sort of play with it a bit to get it to work?
No, we settled into it right away. And then we added a built-in desk area. So there was a big pantry there anyway, so we just took out part of that and we built in a desk to make it multi-purposeful. So we didn't actually eat up any more of the space in the room.
Yeah.
So we did a built-in desk on a wall that was already there and already used up. So that really helped. Yeah.
I think that's a good tip, is to build furniture, do built-in cabinetry and stuff like that. So you don't have these freestanding pieces that are sticking out too far. Whereas if you had a freestanding desk, it might have been too deep.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, so we did the buffet and we went up. So we built open shelves for above it, also for extra storage to take advantage of the height.
Yeah.
Without
I love
having
using
on the floor.
open shelving in small spaces because, it adds storage, but it's also a visual kind of aid. So it's, especially in kitchens. I have a friend who just redid her kitchen. She has the open shelves and all her dishes stacked.
I love
and
them.
I'm I just want all my things on display,
But you have to have pretty things. Here's my 1970s Tupperware.
Yes, and my bag of
Spider-Man cups.
Right. Yes, not good. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you do have to have pretty things to do. But yeah, I because your eye can then go to the back, to the wall, as opposed to the cabinet doors.
And building up is good too, making use of that vertical space.
Height. Yeah, and another thing that I always recommend for people to do in small spaces is to hang their drapery at the height of the ceiling. People always have a tendency to want to hang their drapes at the height of the window.
Right, on the trim. It's
right, and it's actually a really good thing to do. It just fools the eye. It makes the room feel much larger, and that's an excellent thing to do for small spaces, to make it feel larger. So
we were talking about, because I think there are some design rules, and I tend to be anti-design rules. I know you have to have them, to say generically this is visually what looks good, but it's so there's the design rule of you don't paint a small room a dark color, or you don't use a super busy pattern in a small room. And I don't know, I disagree with that. I think a small room is where you really can go bold. That's where you can go, and I think it almost adds more depth to it when you do that.
Right. I've seen some amazing bathrooms and offices in black actually that I think are really stunning. So I think that you don't have to do that. You don't have to go bright and airy just because it's small.
Especially if it's well lit. If you have good lighting, you have good windows in a small space, like Marian said, it'll definitely add the depth to the room by using the darker colors.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. We just put a wall mural in our bathroom, and you'll see she's staying with me. It's it's awesome. It looks great, but it's a teeny tiny little bathroom, but the wall mural was the perfect size for it. But it's sort of this it's sort of a black and white design of
it's
woods. It's kind of woods, but
so it distracts you from the size of the space.
It does, but some people were I don't know about that in that little bathroom, because you can't step back far enough to really appreciate what the mural is, because it's a little abstract. And but actually it creates a lot of depth, because it sort of is this mural that creates this world beyond the walls.
That's
so it sort of brings you out of the room a little bit more.
That's
so
great.
what I did in that room too, because the ceilings are really low, they're white now because of the mural, but beforehand I painted everything the same color. So I had the walls and the ceiling were sort of a pale aqua, and I think that's
another great trick to do.
Yeah, it just sort of opened everything up, and so you didn't have that dividing line.
Right. Of this is where the room stops.
Right.
When you paint the ceiling a different color. Right. That makes a lot of sense. Yep.
So what do you think? I know you guys are thinking about building like not quite a tiny
like a
house.
quasi tiny house, like.
But what do you? I don't think I get the tiny house thing. I don't necessarily get the. I don't get the McMansions either, where people just build these enormous homes just to have enormous homes
with 14 bathrooms.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't. Why do you want to clean all that? Like I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I have 3. That's more
enough.
than enough.
Yeah. But so, what do you think of the tiny house thing? Like.
Well, I know for my husband and I, like, we feel like, you know, we're a couple years into marriage and we're renting a house and we're already at the point where, like, we have so much stuff for 2 people. Like, I can't imagine when we have kids and, like...
It breeds then.
We have,
it's like
we have a 4-bedroom
You put it in a
right
box
now,
and you open it up and then it's like...
So, we're looking into building kind of, like, maybe, like, a 1,200 square foot house where it's not, you know, the tiny houses are, like... They're like 100 square feet. So they're literally like...
Or like, I saw like a family of 5 or 6 living in like a 400 square foot.
There's
it's like,
no way. There's
why
no
do you
way.
want to do that to yourself?
But
I know that, I mean, everyone has...
Right,
Some people love living in yurts or
I just have
whatever.
stuff. So like, there's no way I'm going to put all my stuff in 500 square feet. So... I guess the reason why we wanted to do it was to just become a little bit more minimalist and like think about what it is that we have and why we have it.
And what's important.
Right. And, you know, at this point, like, you know, we're in our 20s. Do we need 4 bedrooms? No.
Yeah.
Like, we really don't. So kind of a lot of the things we've been looking into is like, what are we going to do for storage and organization in such a tiny space? And there's lots of things like, you know, building out drawers from the steps. Like, my husband's obsessed with that idea, like being able to pull your steps out.
Yeah.
And doing a lot of things like built-ins, even with sofas and stuff that, like, you know, you build it into the wall and then it has drawers underneath it. So it's like a unit that's always there that you can store, you know, like winter linens and stuff like that.
So it's kind of like a camper. Like, you build it like a camper. You have all these little cubbies.
But pretty.
Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean, the idea of everything. Yeah, I do think, like, if you are decorating a small space, that having items that are multifunctional. So, you know, it's not just a coffee table, but it's maybe a trunk, and that can be storage that's inside the trunk as well.
Dual purpose.
Yeah. Multifunctional things,
That's
I think are good.
Yeah, and I think that's huge because I was telling Marian, my very first, like, by myself apartment was this 500 square foot. It was a house.
The by myself apartment.
Like, it was a house, but it was 500 square feet. It was like this tiny little thing. And so learning how to decorate in there was a lot more challenging than I thought, but I felt like it was a really good way for me to like start my house decorating because I learned like the importance of like furniture placement and like organization and that kind of stuff. Like some things that I did were just playing with like in the living room, like the setup of like the outlets and stuff was kind of funny. So what I did was I had like a kind of TV viewing area, and then behind it I made like a little reading area, you know, so it's making use of like the space that you have in the way that it's been set up or built, I guess.
Yeah, I was talking about this with you earlier too, how we stayed in this chapel loft when we go to the chapel market in Alabama.
So beautiful.
And it's the size of a 2-car garage. It's above a 2-car garage, and it's just, it doesn't feel cramped or small. And it has a kitchen, a full bathroom, like a full kitchen, full bathroom, a living room, a little bedroom area, and a washer and dryer. So like people could really live there. It's a wonderful place to stay. But I noticed how they have a sofa and chairs and a place for the TV and a table and chairs and all that stuff, but it's all very small in scale. Like it's visually small in scale, and it's not these overstuffed pieces and all. So I think if you're in a small space, to look for furniture, especially vintage furniture tends to be smaller in scale,
which is
the
wonderful,
chairs and stuff. So look for those pieces that are smaller in scale, so you don't, because if you put an overstuffed sofa in a little room, it's gonna, you know, it's
gonna
going to make the room look even smaller.
Right.
Like a little, you know, dwarf room with this huge, giant sofa. Yeah. So I think that's a good tip too. Do you have any other tips, Laura?
No, just my number one tip is the windows.
Okay.
The window coverings are always great to hang at the ceiling.
Yeah.
I always recommend that. I think that's a really great trick.
Yeah, I think so too. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks, Laura,
Thank
for
you for
joining
having
us on Design Ramblings. That's fun. So thanks for liking and commenting on this video, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
No, I can kind of turn. I'll sit back just a little bit as long as people don't see your sweatpants and my sweats. We do.
The problem is that she talks too loud. It's not me. We decided that. I do.
Than she is, but
okay. So just talk loud, so it's not
this is good, like loud.
Maybe you should sit in the middle.
No. Hello, my.
Already? This is not happening.
Don't be jealous.
Really?